Hello.
Guten Abend, willkommen in Hamburg.
Yes. Oh, yeah. We're very excited to be here. Hamburg is so beautiful, and we've been here many times, but we don't often spend a lot of time, and this tour is no exception. But we managed to get in some lovely walks today, in nature, in the botanical garden, and
Planten und Blumen.
Planten and Blumen, and we'll be talking about that in just a moment. We see that Uli is here. We'll be seeing Uli in a couple of days. Actually,
Uli's telling
late
us the
tomorrow
chat
night.
Oh, okay, so the chat
Chat
in
in YouTube
YouTube
is
is not
not
working. That's
working.
interesting.
That
Okay.
is interesting indeed.
So
Um,
we'll see if we can figure out what's going on there, Suba. You can just check the stream.
I will.
So today, Friday, we arrived in Hamburg from Kiel. We will give you a little rundown of what our week has been like. It's been interesting. Last week we hit the road, and this week the road hit us back just a little bit.
That's
And
right.
we'll tell you some stories about how it worked. Hello, Ramon.
Hello,
You see the name
Ramon.
Ramon Lazzaroni there on your screen, and it looks like perhaps the chat is working because Ramon is chatting
From
from
YouTube.
YouTube. So I think that is
Hey.
working. Ramon's a dear friend of ours, and we are here in Hamburg to work with him and a couple of his groups. And we're really excited to see you tomorrow, Ramon. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll see you at 9:40 a.m. our time. For those of you in Canada, it's great to see you. It's 10 p.m. here, as you folks know, so it's a little bit late. We've had a bit of a travel day. We walked around. We want to remind you that we will be doing lots of singing, of course, but we're also making this a bit of an open format where we're talking about our stories from the road. We would love for you to ask us questions if there are any questions about how things are going on the road or what it's like to be traveling or any questions about life and music and stuff. By all means, just throw them there into the chat. Have your side conversations as you always do. We always love it when you folks are doing that. And we're eavesdropping on the conversation sometimes when we're singing as well.
Exactly. And hello to Celia, who's in Toronto. I've been missing our choir. The one of the choirs that I direct is called City Choir. It's a community choir in Toronto, and Celia is a part of that group. So I have missed you all, but I understand you've been making beautiful music without me, with the other directors, which is fantastic. And one of the beautiful things about being able to tour again in a safe manner is that we get to reconnect with our old friends, people like Ramon and Uli, and so many others. And we're going to do a lot of shout outs today because we have had a lot of workshops in the last little while. But we feel so fortunate to be able to connect with these people again. Um, I think every singer in the world, especially, choir singers, ensemble singers, group singers, they've all missed terribly being able to sing together and to hear voices in harmony in one room. And those sorts of restrictions are just starting to lift. And so we're a part of watching the different protocols in the different countries. And that's been very fascinating for us. And Toronto has been pretty slow and sometimes cautious, sometimes too little too late. But overall, I think Toronto is doing okay at the moment, even though we are in the fourth wave of COVID over there. And over here in Germany, things are quite good.
Yeah, they've got some good systems here in place. So each state
Yes.
has different rules, and Hamburg's rules are a little bit more restrictive than other places. But overall, they've got some great things. So of course, when we're here in Europe, we have the vaccine passport, which is good all over Europe, which is fantastic. So when we change countries from France to Holland, to Germany, and then later to Italy, the same pass is good everywhere. It took us a little while to get that, as you know. It was pretty late in showing up, but when it did, it became very useful. And of course, it means that they can scan that whenever we go into a restaurant, whenever we go into a train, wherever they feel it is important. And again, different nations are doing it in different ways. The Germans have also a national, I think it's a national app for signing into restaurants and doing the contact tracing. So
Yes.
instead of filling out a piece of paper, They have an app there. Now, we don't have that yet, so we did fill out a piece of paper. But that sort of process is becoming a lot less cumbersome as well. And it's making, I think, all those measures in place are making people feel here more comfortable and more confident doing some of the things that we have been, that Sue and I particularly have been very cautious in even considering while we're in Canada. Suba alluded earlier to old friends, and we do have a couple of old friends watching. And of course, we can't be in Germany without thinking about Johann Sebastian Bach. So here is our first tune. This is Simon and Garfunkel mixed up with Johann Sebastian Bach. Sing it if you know it. You've heard this one before. This one's called Old Friends. Old friends, old friends, sat on a park bench like bookends, a newspaper blowing through the grass falls on the round toes of the high shoes of the old friends. Old friends, winter companions, the old men, lost in their overcoats, waiting for the sunset. Sounds of the city, sifting through trees, settles like dust on the shoulders of the old friends. Can you imagine us years from today, sharing a park bench quietly? How terribly strange to be 70. Old friends, memory rushes the same years, quietly sharing the same fears. Time it was, and what a time it was. It was a time of innocence, a time of confidences. Long ago it must be, I have a photograph. Preserve your memories, they're all that's left. To all of our old friends, to our even more recent friends as well, that goes out to every single one of you. It is, I've been posting on Facebook a little bit about sharing mostly other people's photos, because when we're busy doing our workshops, we're never able to multitask and take photos and so on. And so I've been sharing other people's photos of the different workshops that we did in Amsterdam, in Rotterdam, in Amersfoort. We haven't gotten any from Kiel yet. We were just there last night. And then we'll have a few more. But what I've been saying within those posts is the fact that it's just so beautiful to come together, to connect, to collaborate, to be in the room with other human beings, actually using our voices and our bodies and our minds and our ears in really open and generous ways. And it's soul food.
it's singing soul food, and
Boy, you don't realize how much you missed it until
ooh,
you're back in a room. So last night we were in a room with about 40 singers for the first time
that was surreal.
in a
Yeah, really
couple, what's
crazy.
now well over a year and a half.
Yeah.
Speaking of old friends, I noticed that Bernie Pasterin is watching. Hi,
Hello,
Bernie.
Bernie. Nice to
Great
see
to
you
see
here.
you. We're going to take a moment and we're going to catch you up on where we have been and what we've been doing over the last little while. So, when we last left you, we were in Paris. It
That's
was
right.
Friday night in Paris. It was our final night. And then on Saturday morning, we made the trip from Paris to Amsterdam. We did that by train. We love train travel.
Oh my
I
goodness.
sometimes think we come to Europe mostly for the train travel.
I
The singing's fun
agree.
too, but
It's true.
I've loved trains since I was a kid. I love ride. We've been
Same.
both riding on trains since we were young and traveling with
Oh,
our families in India and China and other places. So it's very deep in our blood, and we
yes.
love it. And when we come here, what we almost always do is we get ourselves a Eurail pass. You've probably heard of these, and you think of kids backpacking through Europe and stuff like that. We did a cost benefit analysis, and it turns out it actually worked out really nicely for us to get ourselves a pass, and it
Mm-hmm.
means that we don't have to worry too much about getting exact train tickets at exactly the right time or any of that kind of stuff. And we got ourselves a first class rail pass, thinking partly for COVID reasons, it just gives us a little bit more space, but it's also just great it's a really wonderful experience. So we had a lovely trip getting ourselves from Paris to Amsterdam.
That's right.
Actually, we did start, we went from Paris to Amersfoort, and we
Paris
went,
through Rotterdam to Amersfoort.
that's right. And so it took us a little while to get there. That was a good part of the day, and we found ourselves in Amersfoort in the afternoon doing a workshop with a couple of people, with Chantal Senema and Annemarie Homan from Annemarie's group is called Koig, and Chantal's group is called Vocal Band Experience. And we had an awesome time working with them. So to continue, I'm going to plug in the laptop. Give me
Yes,
one
I
second.
noticed that our fan is working a little overtime here, and it's a good idea for us to make sure that we check in with what's going on there. So the workshops were absolutely beautiful, wonderful to hear these people and to see old friends like Anne-Marie. Um, Unfortunately, in the middle of these workshops, I became quite violently ill, and I'm pretty sure it was the vegetarian option on the train. Um, so I had to excuse myself a few times. I did it very quietly. I didn't let anybody know. That's just my way, I guess. I didn't want to draw too much attention to it. So, I did what I needed to do uh, over the course of the kind of 2/3 of these workshops. And then we had, a big kind of pizza party afterwards, and I didn't eat one bite. I did not have one. I tried having a little bit of water, and I couldn't even manage that. And
These are the things that we realize that we sort of there when we talk about we hit the road occasionally will hit you back. Well, just sometimes just the very by very fact of moving to a new place, it just changes how everything works, and sometimes we get a little bit sick, and we sort of forgot about that, and B,
yes,
we have all been so isolated in our own homes, not eating in restaurants,
this is
not
it.
eating in other places, and so I think for all of us, our immune systems are both very, very protected from things, but also very, very sheltered.
Yeah.
And so when it gets sort of assaulted with, oh, you're in a different place, the water's different, everything's different, then it kind of takes you by surprise.
Yeah, and
And
of course the gut flora changes. That's what we call it. Is your gut flora is it's like an ecosystem, and it's changing all the time as you move from place to place. And so we kind of forgot about that in the touring and traveling reality. So that knocked me on my butt for quite some time after that.
and so
Oh, and
some,
I see that
uh,
Chantal and Anne Marie are here, and Chantal says, "You did great, Suva. Thank you, Chantal. I appreciate that. Like I said, I kept it, super quiet. I just wanted to get through, make sure we gave all the energy that we could. But it was basically after this, when we safely made it back to Amsterdam, that I just crashed. I slept for at least 18 hours the next day.
Schnapps is the answer.
Alistair in with the win, the solution win. Schnapps is the answer. We might have to take you up on that in the sense that we will
That might be our
do
plan.
some investigating.
Yeah, do a little bit of medical investigating.
That's right, exactly.
So now we're at Sunday. So
Yes.
we managed to basically stagger ourselves home on the train with poor Suba basically barely able to get on and off trains. We got home, Suba just went and crashed and was out for the entire next day. And it was a reminder that also when you have days on the road, you need sort of days of
Buffer.
compression and decompression.
Yeah.
That's right. They thought you were shy.
Oh,
That's why.
Oh. That's really sweet. I like your excuse better
Interpretation.
than your interpretation better than mine. That's that's really sweet.
So you do need to, this is I'm going to put this out there to anybody if there's any touring musicians out there. We've done this a lot now.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you build a tour, it's very hard particularly for bands who are sort of thinking any day off is a day where they're not making money, but they're spending a lot of money on hotels and things like that. You do need times of decompression. And so one of these was enforced on us, and that was Sunday. Suba was down for the count, and what did I do? I got our laundry done. Isn't that exciting? So
Good man.
I got to walk around Amsterdam trying to find the laundromats and find a coin-operated place and learn how to to use them. Following Dutch. Well, actually, they did have English instructions, which was very
Thank
helpful.
goodness, yes.
Did a little bit of food shopping because, again, as we mentioned last week, instead of staying in hotels, wherever we can, we stay in apartments. Uli, bless your heart. Oh, yeah. Uli said she's got whiskey for us
you
tomorrow.
see how we're provided for, people, right?
We have tour angels, everybody.
We
You can
do.
see this. And so I went out and I did some shopping. I did the laundry. I got myself a little wander. And that was basically all of Sunday.
That was all of Sunday. I can't believe that. Yeah, we I sort of slowly recovered. It's been a kind of a slow recovery, but I'm so much better now. Monday we managed to go out for a walk, but before we get there, I just want to sort of circle back to train travel. It's one of the most civilized ways of getting from country to country or even regionally within a country, and it's a beautiful thing. It's a wonderful way to see the countryside, and I'd never give that up. I don't think.
No, it's awesome. It's so relaxing, and we look forward to even just the long travel days are very fun. So that was Sunday. Monday, we actually got a chance to go out and see some things, and we had a lot of fun with that. And as Suba is talking about trains, they're so inspiring that a while back Suba wrote a piece that was inspired by train travel actually in India.
Exactly.
We haven't done this one as a duo in a long time,
It's
so
true.
fingers crossed. We normally do this. We used to do this as a quartet. Then we did it as a trio with auto rickshaw. And once in a blue moon we pull this one out as the duo. So let's
Do I start? Do you start?
You start.
I start. Okay, then that's
and
that
we'll
kind
just
of,
look at each other like this a lot. Okay?
exactly. That's right. All right, here we go. So this was inspired by the rhythm of the rails of the Indian railway system, but it applies to trains everywhere. Ta-dum, 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 ta-dum,
Ta
ta-dum,
ta
ta-dum,
ta
ta-dum,
ta
ta-dum,
ta
dum, ta-dum,
ta
dum, ta-dum,
ta
dum, ta-dum,
ta
dum, ta-dum,
ta
dum,
ta
ta-dum,
ta
dum,
ta
ta-dum,
ta
dum,
ta
ta-dum,
ta
dum,
ta
ta-dum, dum, ta-dum, ta,
ta tom tom ta tom ta
ta-dum, dum, ta-dum, ta,
ta tom ta tom ta tom ta tom ta ka tom ta ki ta tom ta ka di mi tom ta tom ta ka tom ta ki ta tom ta ka di mi
ta-dum, ta-dum, ta-ka-dim, dum, ta-ki-ta-dum, ta-ka-dum,
tam
ta-dum,
ta tom ta ka tom ta ki ta tom ta ka di mi tom ta tom ta tom ta ki ta tom
ta-ka-dim,
tom ta tom ta ka tom ta ki ta tom ta ka di mi ta tom to ta tom ta tom ta ka tom ta ki ta tom ta ka di mi tom ta tom ta ka tom ta ki ta tom ta ka di mi ta tom to ta tom ta ka di mi tom ta ki ta tom ta ka tom ta tom
ta-dum,
ta tom
ta-dum,
ta tom ta tom
ta-dum,
ta tom ta tom ta tom
I like that you swallowed some of those train tracks, but that's okay.
That's right. Well, we added a few extra ones before that, so we
It's
figured we'd make it up.
All right, it's all about balance.
Henry, very nice.
Anne-Marie, very cool. I'd love to hear more about your travels, Anne-Marie. That's wonderful.
Ooh, we got a train emoji from Celia. How cool is
I don't know
that?
if I've seen a train emoji before. Hooray!
That is cool. And that we also bring up to some of the people that we will talk about in the future, because we discussed a little bit of Sorkatu and Tala keeping with some of the groups that we worked with on the following day. So going
That's
back
great.
to Monday.
Yes.
Monday was a day where we actually just got to do some sightseeing, and we decided we're in Amsterdam. We're going to stay by water the whole time. We're going to stay by canals the whole time. And rather than explore the inner part of the city where the red light district are and the coffee shops are and all that sort of stuff, we've seen all that stuff before. We've been to Amsterdam a few times, and we decided to go out exploring a little bit further. And we thought, wouldn't it be fun if we could rent a couple of canoes or kayaks and go traveling through the canals? It sounded like a great idea. So the closest place that we could find, because it wasn't a weekend, a lot of these places are only open on the weekend, the only one that we could find was actually at a campground, which was kind of at the far end of town, close to a big piece of water. I don't think it was the Amstel, it was something a little bit further along.
Yeah,
We'll have
the
to
name
go-
was escaping me right
We'll
at
have
the
to go
moment.
look at what it was. We had ourselves, ooh, that's nice.
I
Okay.
was like, what was that? Okay.
We had,
There's a garbage can.
there's a garbage
underneath
can. It
us.
sounds
Yes.
like it's gone.
I know.
That's great.
Added musical effects.
So we had a nice walk through various different parts of Amsterdam, and we actually walked through the Indonesian district, which is really cool. So the
Yes.
streets are named after places. They're named after Jakarta and Java, Sumatra, and all these sort of things. And it looks like a settlement place where primarily a lot of Indonesian people being formerly colonized, a nation colonized by the Dutch. That some of the expatriates sort of ended up living in that part of town.
Indeed.
We got ourselves to the river and we found a couple of things. Number one, the place that we wanted to rent the canoes was not closed at 5 p.m. like they said, but closed at 3 p.m. It was now 2:30 after we had ourselves a nice picnic lunch.
Wah, wah.
Oh well. And then the second thing, we sat down, we had a lovely picnic lunch in front of this big sort of canal
Where
thing.
we expected we would be on our boat.
We thought
in a little while.
our lovely idyllic paddle would be through there, and then we see these massive cargo ships come through like this, and they're taking up the
And
entire
the water is just going crazy.
and we see two of them past each other, you know, with not a lot of space like this, and we're thinking, I don't want to be a canoe in that.
Zero chance for a canoe to be in that particular area.
That's right.
So this is what we call, so we're going to get into a little personal story here. This is what we call a date. So date night for you and me is usually something that just doesn't work out. It just turns into a totally different adventure, which we love. So our date was, trying to find a canoe, trying to be on the water, on the canals, and it didn't happen. But there you have it. And we love it. We love it. And this has been happening all our lives.
I think our
So-
first date was 1996.
I think you're right.
Yep.
I can't remember where we were, but we were trying to get somewhere, and
just never found it.
never a place that we were looking for, some off the beaten path place, just couldn't find it. Drove around and around and around and around, or walked around and around, couldn't find it. It was quite amazing, and we've had many dates in life like that.
Yep.
That go nowhere and everywhere.
And there will be many more, I'm
there
sure.
will be, I think so. So, we mentioned this in our last Free Play Fridays. So much of this tour is by the water. So we were in Paris. We, of course, Amsterdam, land of the canals, and of course, we've been in sort of shipping areas as well. Kiel in Germany, and Hamburg as well. And so that pull to the water will never leave us, I don't think. Much like the being in nature. We like to be in nature, we like to be by the water, we like to travel on the trains. So now we give you a piece about water. Now, we've done this before, but we've done this with piano and bass, or just was I just playing piano? No, I think piano, bass, and two voices maybe.
Piano, bass, and two voices for Free Play Fridays, and then we did it in different places with string quartets and piano percussion sometimes.
Of course. This will be our first time doing this as just two voices, but I think it should work well just based on the kind of tune that it is. This is a Peter Gabriel tune from the album So, and it's called Washing of the Water.
Place where I've come from, so deep, so wide. Will you take me on your back for a ride? If I should fall, would you swallow me deep inside? River, show me how to flow. I feel like I'm sinking down. Thought that I could get along. Here in this water, my feet won't touch the ground. I need something to turn myself around.
Going away towards the sea. River deep, can you lift up and carry me? Oh, roll on through the heartland till the sun has left the sky. River, river, carry me high to the washing of the water. Will you make it all alright? Let your waters reach me like she reached me tonight.
Letting go, it's so hard, the way it's hurting now, to get this love untied.
So tough to stay with this thing, 'cause if I follow through, I'll face what I denied.
I'll get those hooks out of me, and I'll take out the hooks that I sunk deep in your side.
Kill that fear of emptiness, this loneliness I hide.
River, oh river, river running deep.
Bring me something that will let me get to sleep.
In the washing of the water, will you take it all away?
Bring me something to take this pain away. Washing of the Water, Peter Gabriel, one of my absolute favorites.
Yay, Tomoko's there as well. Hi,
Lovely.
Tomoko.
And Farah Malani is here.
Hi, Farah.
We haven't seen you in such a long time. Go Nowhere and Everywhere, Dream Date. Yes, I agree. Yeah, so wonderful to see so many of our friends here. We've mentioned before that Tomoko has been one of our students at Hamburg College in the jazz department. She's a wonderful singer, composer, improviser. If you're in Toronto or the surrounding area, check her out. Yeah, so just getting back to that piece, yeah, it's such a wonderful one. I'll never get tired of singing that.
All right, so we left off having a date on Monday, and that was lovely.
Date. Yes.
And then the next day was a work day. So the next day we had workshops in the morning and in the evening.
In Rotterdam to begin, and then back in Amsterdam in the evening. Rotterdam's lovely. That's the first time we had ever been there.
Yeah.
And the conservatory that we were at was just, what a beautiful place. And there was somebody, it was Susan in the second workshop who said, we were in two conservatories that day, as I said, one in Rotterdam and one in Amsterdam. And she said, have you ever met a conservatory you didn't like? A music conservatory? And of course, rhetorical question. The beauty of going to places like that, as you know, or going to music colleges, for example, is that you feel that vibe, you feel the energy, the curiosity, the creativity, and of course music spilling out of windows and practice modules and things like this. And Rotterdam was no exception. The building was so beautiful, very old.
For those of you who are from Toronto, if you've ever been to the Artscape building where Small World Music is,
yeah.
on Crawford, it's on Crawford, right?
On Shaw.
On Shaw, yeah. So down near Queen and Shaw. It's much like that. This particular building was an old school that was repurposed to become a conservatory. And I have to say, one of the things that I liked about the conservatories here, conservatory in Canada feels like it's a 19th century classical institution that is being sort of brought into the 20th century, not yet the 21st, but it's making its way there, where it's starting to offer jazz and stuff like that. But I feel like the idea of innovation in offering modern music feels a little more baked into the conservatories in Holland.
Yes, I agree.
And we were at part of a program called Code Arts, or an institution called Code Arts, and the person who brought us there was the wonderful Dutch singer Mel Martens. We've known her for many years. We followed each other around a cappella festivals probably for almost 10 years. I remember meeting her at the London A Cappella Festival, at least that long.
Right. Yeah, it's been a long time. And so she had us work with some of her master's students, and she's a gem of a person and a beautiful singer, educator, improviser, and her students are very much following in the same footsteps. What I said about them was that they were, again, very generous with open ears and curious minds and fearlessness. And of course, as we all know as improvisers, that is the real key, the first and foremost key to becoming more comfortable with improvising.
Leave your fear of judgment at the door and just allow yourself to be open.
Yes.
And these folks were wonderful for that. We had a fantastic time in Rotterdam, and then we went home. We had a few hours off. A little bit later than we thought. We had a wonderful lunch with Mel. It was the first time we'd had a chance to catch up, and it was actually our first indoor restaurant
Yes.
experience with other people.
That's right.
And we started to
So
realize how much we were learning to, by necessity, adapt to the different sort of levels of acceptability of things in different places. Now, apparently Holland has something like a 90% vaccination rate. Dig that. And that means that they very recently lifted just about all restrictions. So there are still restrictions. You still need to wear a mask on public transit, but you don't need to wear masks indoors anymore there. It's something that, frankly, I still found a little disconcerting. I'm so programmed
Yeah, same
to
here.
wear a mask indoors. So most of the time I did. So for example, when I was out food shopping, I wore my mask in the stores. I was the only one. But, you know, everybody needs to do what they do. And speaking of COVID-y things, when Suba was sick,
Yes.
we recognized, being on tour, we're the ones who are traveling from place to place, which means if anyone is creating extra risk, it's us. And so it behooves us to have an extra level of responsibility that we never would have thought about when we were on tour. So when Wasuba was getting into sort of 24 to 36 hours of not feeling very good, we said, you know what, let's just
Take a test.
take a test. And it turns out in Holland, and I think through most of Europe, you can just buy a test at a drugstore. And they're cheap, and they kind of look like pregnancy tests, to be quite honest. It's a little thing, you put something in it, and then you get the lines that either say yep or nope. And so we went through this process, and we did it at home, and it was kind of scary. Not the process, just wondering what the ramifications were.
Exactly, because we had to think about all of the what ifs, because if that happens, then you quarantine, you can't move, you can't go anywhere, and we have all these other plans. Well, all that to say that the COVID test came out negative, which was wonderful, and so we are footloose and fancy free,
cleared for takeoff
with all the protocols in place.
once again. I'm just going to take a moment and notice that
Philip back
is
with
here.
us.
Oh no! And Philip mentioned that he had another stroke. My God, Philip, I am so sorry to hear that.
Yes.
But we are so glad that you have joined us, and we're so honored that you're able to be here. I just noticed my Aunt Carol and Reg are watching.
Yay.
Hi, we love you too.
We love you.
Sorry
Nice
we
to
weren't
have
there
you
for
here.
Thanksgiving, but we're glad to see you guys.
Yes, exactly.
And so on Tuesday evening we had a second workshop in Amsterdam, and we had a wonderful time there with Suzanne and Kees Kool, an old friend of ours, an improvising friend of ours. Yes.
So many, again, these people that we see at festivals from time to time. Sometimes we're sharing the stage, sometimes they're even in our workshops. And then we don't see them for a while, but the beauty of technology is that we get to keep tabs on each other. So,
That's a very nice note from Farah. As an epidemiologist, I'm really proud of you for facing your fears and being proactive to protect others. Thank you, Farah.
Thank you, Farah.
It's always an interesting thing, and I'll pass this out to everybody else who's going through this, of balancing your level of acceptable risk. And Suba and I have been way on the other side of the spectrum of risk avoidance.
Extra cautious, yeah.
So this is sort of a couple of steps ahead to go from being, basically being isolated through most of this pandemic, to actually going out and touring and being in rooms singing with people. So it has been quite an adjustment, but we are very happy to be doing it. And when we booked this, there was no Delta variant on site at that time.
That's true too.
We thought that everything's going to be just fine. So it's interesting. I have to say, it's interesting traveling with all these different considerations, and it's not frightening, but it's just one extra. It's like carrying around an extra piece of baggage, really, psychological baggage of things that you need to be careful of and all that sort of thing. Bless you, Philip. Thank you so much. We are, again,
We're sending our love and our healing recovery vibes to you, and all the strength and energy we can. One of the things, we had some amazing workshops with all of these people we mentioned, And what's so beautiful is that you get to share different ideas. Sometimes it was about jazz or blues, or we between the two of us we have a whole lot of different kinds, different pockets of knowledge, let's say. And so we like to share whatever we can, and we usually tailor make these workshops so that we can benefit the group that we're working with and their abilities, and that can have really wide ranges. But we ended up giving a lot of, vocal percussion, improvisation, intro to blues and jazz, South Indian singing and rhythm.
And they just ate it up.
They ate it up. Amazing.
Awesome. A combination of strong musical fundamentals and just a joy and a sense of courage. And everybody, and it's interesting because everybody has said the same thing. They said, I have been improvising by definition is a communicative art, unless you're doing it entirely by yourself. So it involves being with somebody else. It's very hard to improvise over Zoom. So a lot of these people have been saying, we feel so rusty. It's been so long. A couple of people said, I didn't know if I was going to be able to do this when I came back. And I think a lot of artists have been saying this. And then we are joining them just as they're getting back on their feet. And it's so invigorating
Yes.
to see how
Overwhelming too.
Overwhelming. People are getting so much joy out of this. We decided to, before we got started, as kind of a warm-up, we did one of our pieces. And it's the first time we've done this where we actually had people joining in and adding background. So we're going to ask you to do that at home. And if any of you who are in these workshops are watching, we want to hear again what you were doing there over the airwaves. So we're going to give you, this one's a classic, you guys know this, and we're going to tell you folks what we told them. We've mentioned this to you sometimes before, but we sort of developed a new arranging technique with this particular piece, where in this one, by and large, I sing the lead and Suba sings the bass. And then when we get to a part where we want to flip it around, we actually just pass the bass part back and forth, literally bar to bar. And it's not really done typically in most vocal music, but it seems to work here. So have fun and checking that out. This one, of course, is What's Going On. A 1, 2, 3. Mother, there's too many of you crying. Brother, 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 there's far too many of you dying. You know we've got to find a way to bring some love in here today. Oh, Father, Father, we don't need to escalate. You see, war is not the answer, for only love can conquer hate. You know we've got to find a way to bring some understanding here today. Painted lines, brother, and picket signs, brother, don't punish me, brother, with brutality, brother. Oh, talk to me, brother, and we can see, oh, what's going on?
Oh, what's going on?
What's going on?
Oh, what's going on?
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 Father, Father, mistakes were wrong. Well, but who are they to judge us? Simply cause our hair is long. You know we've got to find a way to bring some understanding here today. Sing with us, painted lines,
Sister,
and picket signs.
Sister,
Don't punish me
sister,
with brutality.
Sister,
All talk to me,
sister,
and we can see.
Sister.
Oh, what's going
oh,
on?
what's going on?
What's going
Oh,
on?
what's going 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 on?
What's going
Oh,
on?
what's going on?
What's going on?
Oh, what's going on?
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 All right. We hope you are singing and dancing along with us.
Yay. Oh, I'm watching the comments. Jeremy Watson is here. Hi,
Amazing.
Jeremy.
Hi,
Oh, it's
Jeremy.
so great to see you.
Yes, beautiful, beautiful.
Bernie, we love you too.
Aw.
Oh, and I've been watching Celia and Tomoko reconnecting with each other,
Yay.
recognizing that they had met each other at one of our gigs at Lula Lounge.
That's amazing. Gosh, a long time ago.
That is so awesome.
And this is what we do here, right? We build community and we sing together and we share our stories. And it's wonderful to have all of you with us. It's very, very special. Wow, our hotel
You
room
notice-
is very dry.
It's very dry. For those of you, if you've heard Suba do this many times over the 44 episodes of FreePlay Fridays at 4 that we've done, you may have heard what's going on a few times. You'll notice that there's some really, really, really high notes that Suba didn't sing. Well, this is the point where we remind you that we are in a hotel room
With a very cool map
with a very cool map on
on our
headboard.
bedside headboard.
Yeah, so Suba has sort of made a decision that anything over a certain frequency is going to get us kicked out of our room. We're going to hear the German police are going to come take
That's
us
like,
and
Polizei. Yeah, exactly.
and get us out of the country. So we're going to take it easy. All right, so that takes us to Tuesday. And then this is what happens on Tuesday. So we have this wonderful couple of rehearsals. Suba's feeling good. Everything's
Workshops,
looking good.
yeah.
And 4:30 in the morning, it hits and guess who's sick now?
This guy
Oh,
right here.
it was my turn. I
Wah,
caught whatever
wah.
Suba had, and I was
Pretty
up
much
and-
exactly the same thing.
Yeah, right down to the timing. So I was up and down for a while. I did my 18 hours of sleeping, and that was Wednesday. And so, Suba, what did you do on Wednesday?
That's
I have
right.
no idea what
he,
you did.
He
'cause-
has no idea. It's a big secret. No, there's no secret here. I went out. I went to I actually caught up on a lot of admin. I got a chance to speak with my parents who are in Toronto right now. So we had a little WhatsApp conversation, and it was actually good. We had some good interwebs over there.
Yeah,
Good,
interwebs was good.
Yeah. So we had a nice long catch up on that day, and then when you finally were able to stomach anything else, I went out to the organic food shop around the corner, and got what are basically the most important things: plain yogurt and sparkling water, soda water. And those are the things that are generally fairly safe and sometimes the only thing that you can stomach. And
the good news...
And it was all fancy schmancy because it was organic. So there you have it.
Celia's like, I love this tour. You know, the thing is, we, you know, for all the times that the road kind of bites us back, we love touring. We
do.
love, like, there's something about
it's
the
an
constant.
addiction.
It really is. There's something about, I mean, it's the people that you meet, making new connections, making new musical connections, seeing new places, and there's something just the art of constantly having to figure stuff out.
Yes.
How do you use a coin-operated centralized laundry thing in
That's
Amsterdam?
Right. How to show your anti-COVID pass into the QR code of your train conductor.
How to get a COVID test.
How to get a COVID test in Amsterdam.
How to make sure you don't get on the wrong train, and believe me, we've done that before.
Yes, it's true.
And learning all these things, and it's just, it keeps us sharp, it keeps us happy, keeps us alive and functional. So now, that was Wednesday, and we move on to Thursday.
Yeah, so Dylan kind of got over the illness a little faster than I did, I think. But we're both doing quite well now, which is great. And we still managed to get from Amsterdam to Kiel in Germany last night, where we had a wonderful workshop with a group called Jazzica, under the direction of Till Kinshus. And he is a near and dear friend, has been for a long time, and I think we finally discovered the history of when you first came across them. What year was it again?
We think it was around 2008.
2007 or 8.
His wife Karine had heard Cadence, the a cappella group that I used to sing with many years ago. On one of our tours of Germany, we connected with somebody named Martin Kabel, who is from Hamburg. Ironically, we wanted to see Martin. Martin's in Italy.
Yeah.
We're going to Italy on Sunday. Martin comes back to Hamburg. So we're going to sort of say hello from the plane.
Yeah, 2 ships.
Oh my goodness, Philip says I boarded the wrong plane once. That is awesome.
That's amazing.
Oh, wow. I'm surprised. The real question is, Philip, who let you on?
Right?
Like, who was asleep at the switch and not looking at your ticket? Wow.
That sounds like an amazing story.
Before we get to Till, the day that we had getting there ended up being a little more epic than we expected. So first of all, we knew it was going to be a long day. So Amsterdam to Kiel, we found the best routing was going to take us about close to 7 hours or something like that. And Jeremy, we would love to sing Butterflies, but this tour that we're doing, or this series that we're doing, is our super lo-fi version. We don't actually have any of our equipment, so everything that we're doing is going to be just 2 voices. If we start doing some more things when we get back home with our touring equipment, we will definitely put that one on the list.
And we will dedicate it to you.
Dedicated to you. So we were going to go, it was going to be Amsterdam to a place called Onsebrück. And then from Onsebrück, we were supposed to have a nice little 25-minute get off the train, get on the next one to get to Kiel. Well, our first train was 20-odd minutes late. We were a little bit worried about that at first because, that's going to be a little bit complicated, hoping that we can make our train. But it turns out that our other train at that point was 45 minutes late. And we're watching. The very cool thing about the German train system is that on your phone you can watch constantly updating how your train is doing.
It'll say plus 23, which
Verspätung.
means Verspätung. It'll say it's delayed for a while.
And so one thing we've always loved about the German train system is that in our sort of 15, 16 years of using it, it was always very efficient and very much generally ran pretty much on time. And as time has gone on, it seems like the trains are getting a little bit less and less reliable. Our train was 75 minutes late. So we were supposed to get into Kiel a good hour and change before our workshop, and we thought there's no way that we're going to be
maybe a few minutes late. 15 minutes, 20 minutes is no big deal, but 75 minutes?
And it got better. The train ended up not going all the way to our final destination. Yeah. We just saw a little thing. We're looking at the German. We didn't know what it meant, but it didn't look good because it was written in red. Not usually a good sign.
It had 3 pluses beside it to say, here's some extra important information.
It turns out that the German basically said, yeah, we're not going to stop here.
No.
And they just decided that they were going to not stop at the last stop in
Yeah.
Kiel. So we had to get off in Neumünster.
Neumünster, yeah.
And fortunately, we have European cell phone SIM cards, so we can communicate with people. It's a lot
thank
easier to be able to
goodness.
do that. So fortunately, Till was on the ball, and he was able to send somebody to pick us up at the station before the station we should have gotten at, and get us to the workshop, which we showed up for half an hour late. We're so sorry that
What
happened.
to do? We can't control the trains as much as we try. But we made it eventually, and we still managed to get all the work done that he wanted to get done. And I say the work, meaning we get commissioned to write arrangements for this particular group, women's group, to perform. And so Dylan's been writing for them for many, many years, and I started writing for them, I think, a couple of years ago. Wonderful group, and wonderful people as well. And so we thought it would be really interesting to give you one of the arrangements that we did. Now, I should mention that this group is how many people? 50?
It's about
50 people?
60, I think
60?
they said, when they've got everybody.
When they have everyone, it's about 60 members. And so we usually write for about 8 parts, all, as I said, all women. So this is an 8-part chart, and we're just going to boil it down to the essentials, the 2 parts. The other cool thing that happens when we get commissioned to arrange music is that we get to learn new music, and we get to learn about new artists as well. And so one of the artists that was new to us was Gorillas. And so
with a Z, by the way.
Gorillas with a Z. Yeah, they're a pretty awesome group, really interesting. And so we've really enjoyed kind of getting deeper into that music and into that artist. Ramon, you should have taken an auto rickshaw. Yeah, it probably would have been faster. How is this possible? So anyway, we're going to give you a piece that oh, bless your heart. We've got some water here. As we said, it's very dry
This
in this
hotel
room.
room's quite dry. So, and in time-honored tradition, so first of all, yes, we are taking 8 parts and representing it with 2 people.
Correct.
And in time-honored FreePlay tradition, we learned this about an hour ago.
That's right.
So, or rather, we figured out how to do this an hour ago, sitting on our hotel bed, going, you're going to take that part, and we're going to... And it's interesting because we've done this enough that there's actually not a lot of verbalizing that goes on when we're working out parts. It's one of we sort of pick 2 parts that we think are going to work, and one person switches and one person doesn't. As we get through the piece, we sort of realize we've established by and large who's going to do what things and who's going to switch to this part and that part. And then we sing through it again, and that just gets a little bit more refined, and we do it a few more times. So we've probably sung this through maybe 4 times now. And we'll see if we make all the changes that we planned on making.
That's right.
But we will at least start and end at the same time.
Yes, exactly. At least that's the hope. So this is a piece called Zwei by Gorillas.
We'll start with you.
Yep. So complicated for me. Twilight, waiting on the planet to turn to me. Dark side, if loving you's a felony, now that I'm a renegade, riding, trying to find tomorrow ain't easy till you dive in. over me now, that's all I need. Dreaming, waiting on LA to come find me. Be forgiven. I'll be a regular guy for you, I never said I'd do that. Why you looking so beautiful to me now when you're so sad? I will always think about you. That's why I'm calling you back on my way through.
I wanna stay with you for a long time. I wanna be your stone love. I wanna see LA in your eyes when I'm leaving with
your
love.
I will always think about you. That's why I'm calling you back, 'cause I gotta run soon. I will always think about you. That's why I'm calling you back on my way through. Oh, 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 oh,
Till and Jessica, we hope you heard that. We hope you liked it.
such a cool tune. Oh, thanks everyone. Yeah, crunchy harmonies. Who doesn't love crunchy harmonies?
It's such a cool tune.
It's so neat. Check out the Gorillas if you can. That's Gorillas with a Z on the end. And we really learned a lot from their music, and that's all thanks to Till. Thanks to Phil.
Thanks to Till. All right, and that takes us to today. And so that was Thursday night. We stayed at Till's place on Friday, had a lovely breakfast with him, and found ourselves in Hamburg. Hamburg is not that far away from Kiel, so no epic 12-hour train rides, no 75 minutes late. The trip was only 75 minutes long. And today was a little bit more of a relaxing day where we could just sort of, again, walk by the water, walk by the Plantenblumen, which is very close to our hotel. And tomorrow we get to work with Ramon, who is watching today. And we're very excited for that. After that, we will spend one more day in Germany with our friend Uli, who's also watching. And then we head off to Italy. And that's where we're going to meet you next. We will be in Florence when we come to you next Friday. Don't forget, this will run for 2 more episodes this coming Friday, a week today. And then the last one will be, I think the date is the 28th. Is that right? No, it's the 30th. I can't keep track. 29th.
29th, yes.
That's right. Okay. The 22nd. And the 29th. We hope you will join us with those. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. It is so great to see all of you again.
It really is.
And yes, Till is watching. Awesome.
Amazing.
And Femke, thank you. Great to see you as well.
Yes.
It's really nice to see you joining in. And so great to see all of our European friends. We've missed you so much over the last couple of years where we haven't had a chance to see you.
Exactly.
So Sue, what do you want to wrap up with?
I think weather with you is the right sentiment here.
Okay.
So one of the things we're gonna finish up with one more song for you. Thank you for sticking around. We know we've gone over our usual hour. You never know what you're gonna get. But we've talked to you about some of the ups and downs of touring, but the fact that we still love it so much, and we also, through these FreePlay Fridays, we get to weather the COVID storm with all of you, which is really wonderful. So Crowded House wrote a tune called Weather With You, and the theme of the song ultimately is that you are the master controller of your weather, and therefore you are the controller of your own environment. So you make your own fate, essentially.
Everywhere you go.
Everywhere you go.
You always take the weather with you.
All right.
Just having one. There we go.
Yeah?
Yep. 1, 2, 1. Walking around the room singing stormy weather on 57 Mount Pleasant Street. Well, it's the same room, but everything's different. You can fight the sleep, but not the dream.
Things ain't cooking in my kitchen. Strange affliction wash over me. Julius Caesar and the Roman Empire couldn't conquer the blue sky. Everywhere you go, you always take the weather with you. Everywhere you go, you always take the weather. Everywhere you go, you always take the weather with you. Everywhere you go, you always take the weather with you. There's a small boat made of china going nowhere on the mantelpiece. Will I lie like a lounge room lizard, or will I sing like a bird released? Ooh, things ain't cooking in my kitchen. Strange affliction wash over me. Julius Caesar, Roman Empire couldn't conquer the blue sky. Everywhere you go, you always take the weather with you. Everywhere you go, you always take the weather. Everywhere you go, you always take the weather with you. Everywhere you go, you always take the weather. Always take the weather. Everywhere you go, you always take the weather with you. Everywhere you go, you always take the weather. Everywhere you go, you always take the weather with you. Everywhere you go, you always take the weather with you.
Stay safe, stay happy, everybody.
Ramon, Uli, Helga, we will see you all tomorrow. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. Be safe, as always. Be kind to each other. Love one another. Love yourself. Thank you so much for being with us today.
And tune in next week.
See you next Friday.
Bye-bye.
Bye.